stuff on your email? Do you have an email that you gave to Victor?
I think I got the agenda.
Okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make.
It's gonna
sure
be
you
up
were
on the screen too.
in that loop. Okay, perfect.
Anybody have fun plans for the weekend? I know what you're doing.
I do. What else do I got? We're going away next week, so I gotta get ready to go.
Going down to see the kiddies.
Going to San Francisco. See Luke and Lauren and my brother.
Mm-hmm. It's exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. Mark and I haven't been anywhere together in forever. I mean, just the way life is right now. So that'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Karen can catch up with, we can get started. And let's see, Rachel, would you like to do roll call or I can do it?
Go ahead. I'm trying to figure this out.
All right, Patrick Wise.
Yeah, here.
Nancy.
Yes.
Dana here. Savannah here. And just taking roll call. Karen, are you here?
Are you here, Karen? Say Karen.
I am here.
Okay, there you go.
Except being a very slow driver.
That happens sometimes.
Especially this time of year, right?
Okay, you can sit
Okay,
here.
Karen, if you want to just, this is Savannah, our.
Hi, Savannah.
intern.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Welcome. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And are you a junior or a senior?
I'm a junior.
Junior, okay.
And we're missing Sue today, but we still have quorum, so we're good. Yes, and did people get a chance to look at the minutes from last time?
Yes.
They were very thorough.
Yes.
And I did, they looked good to me, except I saw one thing that I was going to look into industry standards for the costs of planting and caring for donated trees, which I've done, but let's save that for, what would that be, old business maybe?
So I can move that we accept the minutes as written.
In a second?
A second.
Okay. Onward. Board communications, Victor did not make me aware of any and there were none in the packet, so I think we're good on that.
Yeah.
Yep. And let's go on to old business.
Is there anybody online that we got to ask for public
Oh,
comment?
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's okay.
No, it doesn't look like anybody. online. Here's our agenda. Okay, let's start with outreach efforts. And let's see, Karen and I and Patrick have been working on the first tree canopy article. And you have that I sent over this morning. Do you want to put that up?
I have print copies if anybody would like one as well.
Savannah, we've been working on how to do outreach to the community. And this team there is, we're looking at putting something in the paper and on social media, right, Dana?
Yeah, so once a month we'll have just a little small blurb in the paper and it's going to be called Tree Canopy. And we're going to pick a topic every week. The first one will be why are trees important, and then a featured tree of the month. So, yeah, Karen did most of the verbiage on this. I did the tree.
This is great.
So if you guys want to take just a second, sorry we didn't get it in the packet sooner. Just to see what you think. So we thought it was important to just pick one topic and kind of stay focused on it, but not have it be too short. So let's see, and then grab people's interest. And then the featured tree. And then maybe a few graphics of what it looks like. So that's in the second page. So if you want to take just a second to look through, if anybody has any comments, I think the next step for us would be to send it to Victor. And he'll peruse it, make any changes, and then.
You're working on the next one.
Yep.
For December then.
Yep.
I should add, this was a group effort, Anna and me and Patrick, so it wasn't all me doing this.
Yeah.
And you sent out some additional drawings, Patrick?
I
This
did.
morning, yeah.
I wanted to bring your input in, so I sent a few different images to you guys. And you wanna throw
Yeah,
any
can you put
input?
those up?
Someone sent them to me.
Yeah, I did send them.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, that was my last email.
No, the only ones I pulled up are, let's see.
Yeah, we had a few cool
I have a question on the words, the wordage. Is that a word? Wordage?
Sure.
It says the sugar maple is known for its stately form, vibrant yellow and orange fall color, and of course for maple syrup, made boiling down early spring.
Yes, thank you.
There's something,
Made by boiling
I
down.
can only pull up that Word document you sent.
Let's see, did you get another email from me with Patrick's pictures, I think? I can send it again.
Those are nice pictures, Patrick.
Hopefully they convey the idea, so they're just quick sketches, and I saw that we hadn't really decided on the title for the. I sort of went with tree canopy, because that's what I heard you guys,
Yeah, we should talk about that one more time too. Okay, Rachel, I am sending this.
Okay. I like that top one a lot. That looks like it's a tree canopy. I like it.
yeah, so I thought I tried to marriage the two, the image to the title, even though I wasn't quite sure that was gonna be the title, but I like the idea of the tree canopy and then with the image.
Just one other fleeting thought, I had been wondering about, so this is, would it be sketchy like this in the paper? or would it be
No,
more-
that's just a quick sketch of thumbnail,
Yeah,
just
that's
to
what
give
I
you an
figured,
idea.
yeah.
So I work on getting that refined, and I'd actually have to speak with the printer as well to see how he would want to receive it. If they're looking just for, that format, and if it's just gonna be black and white, or if he allow for half tones, that's all printer stuff,
Printer stuff,
but those are questions I would have, I guess, for him. I can keep it real simple, black and
I
white,
got it.
real graphic, or, a little bit more detail with that half tone. If they,
So I guess color is probably out, right?
I'm guessing, I have no
color
idea.
costs more, I know, in the
Yeah, and I
ads.
don't know, but what, like a really cool line drawing is nice, just black and white. line
It is,
drawing.
sure, it can be just as,
I like the
effective.
simplicity of your tree canopy at the top.
Have we found out any prices at all? Do you guys?
Actually, it's no cost. Email, Victor had sent us an email about it and kind of laid out the criteria. Charles agreed that there wouldn't be a cost to it.
Great,
Yeah.
that's
he agreed
great.
He would put it in. If I could pull up that email, I could read it to you.
That's okay, but that's super. I'm
Yeah.
glad he's willing to work with us.
Yeah, he's
There you
very
go.
willing.
There they are, okay,
Here's the first one.
okay.
So I think I like the literal tree. The one only other thought I had is, the other option would be to do something just more graphic.
Yeah,
Like we've had, on a lot of our tree board stuff, Victor came up with this, I'm sure it's clip art from somewhere, but
sure.
just a little graphic, and I don't know if I can put my hands on it or not, but
Are we talking about this
Would
as
that be
a,
different than what Patrick did there? I mean, are you
it's more graphic as opposed to like a literal.
a little tree?
are we talking about what we're gonna put in every month as our,
Yeah, I don't know, well, this is
Okay.
my question is, do we wanna have like, logo for the tree board? And this would be it for our correspondence and things we put, in city documents? Or do we wanna have this for a tree canopy and then continue to use the little graphic we've been using? Let's see if I got it done, so.
I like the idea of the canopy over the words. I think that's very cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oops, the mountains are falling.
I'm gonna look for, I've got a copy of our tree plan here.
Yeah.
You can just scan the QR code with your camera and pull it up to see if we had I thought there was some graphic
Yeah.
there, but it's just the city
Here it
of
is.
Harbor Springs
I got
graphic.
it. I guess I could just pass this around. Or let me just walk around with it. So that's,
Yeah, there you go.
this is
Yeah.
what we've been using.
There you go.
And it curiously is very similar to Patrick's sketch.
Yeah.
It's a very casual meeting, we can just walk around.
Yes, it is, it's nice,
Mhm.
actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like being in
So
school again.
what do people think about this?
So this is what we've been using.
This is
Oh,
what
yeah,
we've been
I
using.
know, I'd recognize, yeah. Well, I personally think it's fine to do that for the newspaper ad, since it's called the tree canopy.
Mhm.
And if we wanted to continue to use this with the color in it, We could actually even change the color depending on the time of year.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
If we wanted to be fancy.
Can you scroll back up to that first one, Rachel?
The first one on this page or
The very first one,
The top one.
a whole bunch there, yeah.
I love that.
So you're saying, should we use that instead of that?
Well,
Is that
I'm
what
just
you're
saying, usually with marketing and branding,
You stay
you stick
consistent.
with one image.
Right. I agree with you. We should just have one, I think. So the question is whether you stay there or move it over to here. I did find that if you guys find this helpful, the email from Victor, that what he got back from Charles, do you want me to read it to you?
If you already said what the gist is, I don't think you need to, but.
There's no charge. Harbor Lake has the right to edit and decided to publish or not publish, He would like an example of the article. He wants to see the type of graphic and suggest local photos of trees in the city. Since the city will have written it, he thinks it's fine that we disseminate it to our own and on our own website, so we could post it on
Yep, or on,
Facebook and Instagram.
some of the downtown Harbor Springs or chamber stuff.
Yeah, the chamber stuff too. He strongly discouraged editorial types of articles as to whether or not to trim on the bluff. That was a good example of
You
that.
probably don't
Yeah.
want to touch that one as a tree board right now.
So that's the deal. So it's free. So I didn't put in
That's
the
great.
sponsored by the landscaper.
We won't
because
need that.
yeah,
We don't need
that,
that, which
Yeah,
actually is,
Yeah.
yeah, it
I
is.
think so too.
yeah, I think that,
Although it would be a way of getting them to buy in on the tree plan.
it would, but maybe we can use that somewhere else. If we don't use it, if you'll give us this for free,
Right.
then maybe we can use that approach
Go
somewhere
back.
else,
Yeah.
which would be handy.
Okay, so let's back up to what we want to call it. So out there so far has been tree corner, tree canopy, and then one more that I had thought of, not that we don't have enough already, is tree matters. So like matters about trees, but they also matter kind of play on words. So who wants to go first? What do you think?
You're all looking at me. I don't have a super strong preference.
Yeah.
I like this tree canopy idea with the tree, the graphic over it, and then the article below it. I just think that kind of, it's something a little different. So I guess if I had to pick, that's what I pick.
Okay, Patrick, thoughts?
Yeah, the thing I like about the tree canopy as well and the image actually is because there's a relationship.
Mhm.
It's not a single tree. So there's two trees and there's a relationship between them. So, if people read that into it, great, but that's the piece that I like about that. I understand what you're saying about your branding bit and so, maybe we don't need to do anything, just continue with that image that you have and just bring it over. So I guess that's for you to decide.
Preference, do you like tree canopy? I do. What do you think, Savannah?
I think tree canopy is the best where there's the two trees and then just the word, right? It just looks clean. So,
So are we then thinking there would be two of that first image together or one of the lower images that have the two intertwined?
I kind of like the top image if you see the whole tree.
Something like this, I could continue to work on this if this is what you guys like. I would be glad to continue to work on this idea for you, maybe make it more bold, more graphic. That's what
And
I'm
put
thinking.
more of the
That's what
top
you're
of the
thinking.
tree on it as well then.
I'm sorry?
Put the whole tree on it, not just the bottom of the tree. To me, it looks like the top of the trees are kind of chopped off at the, in the bottom.
Yeah, and they're
image
sort
there.
of growing towards one another, which really doesn't happen with trees. Like if we're thinking of maple trees, for example.
I'd be glad to work on all that.
What about that first one, Patrick? Could we take two of those and grow? Can you go back up to that?
I was
first
gonna
one?
say, are you talking about the one that's not showing right
The
now?
one that's not
Yeah.
showing yet.
Right, that one.
Could we sort of like, how street trees grow together? Could we take two of those and kind of marry them where the branch structure still looks like a real tree, not growing towards each other?
Sure.
I don't have a problem just doing a single tree. It's a full tree
Mhm.
and foliated and it's simple
Mhm.
and it looks like a canopy
Mhm.
as it is. I kind of like the simplicity of that one. I don't know if.
I
we
guess
need to
I do
expand
too,
it.
yeah.
Well, you already have really an image, so maybe there's no need to do anything. If this is what you want, I mean.
Okay, let's do a round robin again.
Can I see your
Yep.
old image again?
And this round robin would be graphic image or more of a sketchy,
There we go.
or not a sketch, but a black and white, more literal.
Do you want
Why
my
don't you start?
vote?
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay,
Canopy.
Savannah? Something like that or something like that?
I like them both in different ways. This one's very like minimalistic, but then the other one's very drawing in. It looks comforting that the trees are both, and then just the tree canopy in between them. I like them for different reasons. I can't really decide.
This one kind of looked like a summer image a little bit because you can really see the leaves on it.
Well, it'd be interesting to modify that by season. Red leaves, no leaves, pink flowers.
If we can't use color on the paper. I don't know if we can or not. It didn't say anything about color.
Patrick, what do you think?
I'm really kind of fine either way too, I think if you possibly gonna go with the single image, maybe just stick with what you have. I'd be willing to work on the other image for you.
Put it into some form where we could change colors, because this is, I'm sure it's just clip art. What do you think, Nancy?
If I had to vote, I like that one better, but I don't have a problem with that one. So if that's what people think, then I'm fine with it. I do agree with the consistency. We need to be recognized. So we need to decide and kind of stay
Maybe just
there.
stick with what you have, that's it.
I don't have a huge preference.
Patrick, I'm wondering if it's possible to, round the title tree canopy over the top of that, you know what I mean? Kind of like a rainbow where it says tree canopy over the top of the tree, so it's not just straight. I mean, you're the artist, I'm not, it just
Sure.
popped into my head.
I like the
Yeah, we
idea.
can do anything pretty much, we're
I
being
like the
creative, right?
idea of spreading out the letters as if that is the soil from which the tree grows.
That's cool. Like on the bottom?
Yeah, like bring the lettering up closer to the base of the tree and then just sort of
That's cool.
spread it out.
Kind of like, yeah, like what you have right there. Cool idea.
Seems like people have slight favor towards this, so why don't we keep going?
Wanna work that up?
Yep.
Sure.
Does that sound good, guys?
Yeah,
Okay,
great,
I don't think we need to vote.
great.
Awesome. Great, and let's see, so really, we can't turn anything into Victor until we have that image.
Okay.
I like the article, this little quote.
Yeah,
I think it's good that it's short and that it's to the point.
Yeah.
Because that's how much people are gonna read.
Right.
Um,
My first pass was way too long. I
Was
tried to
it?
put
Yeah.
two topics in it. I changed from topic to article and then just listed future articles below that.
mhm.
And keep it simple.
I think simple's better, especially when you're trying to get people interested.
I just wonder, don't take this the wrong way, but if it needs to be a little more engaging, like, trees are important, so aesthetically pleasing, is everybody in Harbor Springs gonna know what aesthetically pleasing means? Is that kind of like, a term we might put like in the tree plan that maybe doesn't speak to people? Let's see, so I had something in here about we know trees are important to the well-being of a community in a number of ways. It's hard to imagine Harbor Springs without our tree-lined streets and our shady neighborhoods. So that speaks great to Harbor Springs.
Say it one more time, Vanna. I'm sorry, tell me what you just said.
Yeah, let's see. I'll just read you my whole thing.
Okay.
We know trees are important to the well-being of the community in a number of ways. It's hard to imagine Harbor Springs without our tree-lined streets and shady neighborhoods. But did you know that trees also improve air quality, moderate weather, and help control erosion? It's also been shown that trees increase property values, help control traffic, and encourage increased spending in shopping districts.
So you made it more of a, rather not bullet points, you see
Yeah.
it more as a, goes in the
Conversational
Okay.
type approach. Bullet points are good too.
I kind of like the sentence you used at the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, I still like the bullet points just because maybe people really hone in on those, but what you said about the beauty of Harbor
The Harbor
Springs,
Springs part.
you know, we could change this sentence to incorporate that first sentence, we know trees are important, and incorporate what you had there.
That's that. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
because that was a nice way to start it. I can change that.
Okay. Do we need to tell them in this? See, I just don't know if this is getting a little long. Do we need to tell them what future articles are going to be about?
I don't know, I thought about that, and the only reason the reason I included them is that maybe they'll think they've got more to look forward to. It's not just a one and done kind of thing.
Yep.
You know, like, oh, I kind of wondered how I'm supposed to take care of these trees, or how do they pay for these, or whatever. It'd be good to know these are coming up down the road, and I can find an article on this.
I think it
Coming down the road.
depends how much room Charles is gonna give us.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if he's not gonna give us a lot, I would drop that section and do your beginning and then the November tree.
Yeah.
And then follow that same format each
So
time.
maybe in a note to Victor,
Yeah,
you could say that paragraph could be dropped if we need to.
Because the articles, I mean, it's usually by the number of words. And so we might run into trouble trying to do all
Yeah.
of this at one time.
right. Okay. So
All right, so
when we get the updated graphic and then put it all together one last time and shoot it by everybody before send it to Victor.
Yeah, it looks good.
then we also have to think about where in this rectangle on the newspaper page the tree goes. Does it go like as a starter to a paragraph?
Guess it depends a little bit what kind of space Charles is gonna give us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, they have graphic designers too.
Yeah,
and I
they can
think They're
help
gonna
us.
take what we do,
And they're gonna,
that Victor's probably already modified, and they're gonna modify it.
Yeah, they're gonna
So maybe
make
we
it
just give them
work.
the graphic and then,
they're gonna make it work for their space.
Yeah,
Especially if
right.
they're giving it to us. They're gonna make it work
And then,
for their space.
Victor mentioned something about a picture of a tree in Harbor Springs. Should I take a picture of a sugar maple and with a fall color? And,
Yeah, I don't know if we'll get color in the newspaper though.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. I like your description, what you wrote here.
oh, and then, I had a hot link to an article about how to tap a sugar maple and how to make maple syrup. So that could be something kind of fun in there. Can we add that in too?
Do you want to send it to me?
Yes, I think, well, it's in that thing I sent you.
Okay,
But I can send
all
it
right.
again if you like.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that could be one of those things that gets dropped because of room.
Yeah. I think people might be curious about it. Everybody's got a sugar maple.
Well, he might even be able, if he needs to fill space, I don't know if he will
Yeah.
or not, but if he needs to fill space, he might be willing just to put that article in,
Yes,
not
yes.
even necessarily part of ours.
Yeah, he's got that
But
description.
here's another interesting article at this time of year for folks.
Yeah.
So,
All right, that sounds like a plan then.
I will get you guys a new graphic by the beginning of next week.
Okay, that'd be
How's
awesome,
that?
yeah.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. We're calling it November, the November article, so we have
Yep.
some time.
We're rushing towards it, yes.
yeah. It's in a big hurry.
Okay, cool. Shall we move on to Leighton Park and hedge planting update? So Victor put something in the packet about that. And there are a couple of people in Leighton Park that don't want their street trees, and they're proposing that we use them in place of the hedge that came out.
Back here.
So then it's down here.
Yeah.
So I have a couple of thoughts on that. Does anybody really miss the hedge?
No.
I just feel like maybe we could use the trees in parks more or something like that.
I don't, you might get some push, and I don't know this, but you might get some pushback from across the street, blocking off that parking lot that
All the
we sometimes
construction
have
equipment.
construction.
I know that is
Kind of
a-
Victor and I's
Yeah.
thing with it, which is why we kind of wanted to put something there.
That's why
Okay.
that was put there initially, if I'm not mistaken, was to shield that parking lot from the park, to delineate the dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
I personally don't care, but I think you might get some pushback if you don't put something
Okay,
in
well,
there.
let's just stick with the plan then, and Ben was supposed to pick out trees. Do we want to communicate any preferences we have?
Ben's not on today, is he?
No.
Okay.
So the reason for the hedge before was just a privacy kind of a
Yeah.
blockage.
I
thing,
think so, if I remember.
So then are there trees that would do that pretty well, that don't get really tall, but can provide that kind of privacy?
Yeah, so any type of canopy tree is not really gonna work, because you're gonna
Right.
see under the canopy.
Right.
So it could be like a crab apple or something like that. And you know, those do well, and it gets some spring flowering and fall color and.
Hasn't Ben already reserved the trees for Leighton Park? I mean, I think he has.
He has.
I think that's what we're talking about, are the ones that he had them set aside. I don't.
Okay, so we may have to use those. no
But I
matter what.
think
So
those
those
are
are
the-
gonna be canopy trees.
Which is not the best choice. If we're trying to shield canopy trees, not the
So,
best choice.
Let's see, do you want me to call Victor, or Nancy, do you wanna call Victor?
I can, he's gone this weekend.
He is.
He'll be back on.
Do you wanna call him on Monday then and tell him what our thoughts are?
Sure, I
And
can,
ask if we need to use those same species, because they really are not gonna accomplish what I think we hope.
yeah, I can email him. I don't think if he comes back Monday, it's late, because he's not gonna be at the
Comes back
council.
on Tuesday.
Yeah, I
He
think
won't be
he's-
at the council meeting.
Yeah, I know he won't be at the council meeting, so, but I'll let him know that we're concerned that if they're canopy trees, that's not what you
I
do.
don't think they are. I
Okay.
mean, and this was a conversation weeks and weeks ago.
Okay,
But we would not put anything but canopy trees in Leighton Park.
Yeah.
Is that a question we could ask Ben?
Yeah. I know Victor has reached out to Ben, so.
I can just tell him are we willing to use those trees there, but not if they're canopy trees. They need to be trees that are appropriate to,
Yeah, if
Shield
they
the
are
parking lot.
canopy trees, maybe we would like to
Find
use them
something
somewhere
else.
else. And
yeah, figure that out some other
do
way.
we have any more trees in the bank still ready to be used? I don't know. Okay,
But I'd be happy. I'll shoot him an email. That's the best way to.
let's see, just some more old business. I can send this to everybody if you like. This is a publication that was put out by Penn State Extension Service. And it's titled Annual Budgets for Community Tree Programs. I had said, I noticed this in the minutes, that I would try and look into what other guidelines there are for how you allocate maintenance versus new trees, et cetera. So I just have a little summary for you here. And this is what they suggest for budget allocation. 20% of the budget is reserved for removals for hazardous reasons, they're dead or declining. 40% for tree maintenance, and only 20% for tree planting. So that's about reverse of what, we've been looking at. We keep putting trees in, but then we have no support money to take care of them. I think almost our biggest need that would fall under maintenance is that water the first couple of years to get the tree going. So,
Is there another 20% for something? 40, 60,
Oh.
80?
yeah, that doesn't add up to 100.
But I get your gist.
Yeah,
is
I'll
we're-
send this to
we're not-
Victor too, and why don't I send this to him with a note? Do you want to pass it on to Ben? Because from the last minutes, I think that was where we left it, as Ben was going to try and come up with a maintenance program.
Yeah, and an approximate cost,
Yeah,
so
and then,
that council can look at it.
so we've been kind of handling tree board budget on an ad hoc as needed basis. And so maybe this would help us home in on.
Yeah, I agree. And budget season's about to start.
Budget
at council,
season's
so
about
we
to
really need.
start if we actually want to dedicate it.
If you want something for
line item from
2022, you
council, yeah.
really need to put something on.
It was kind of related to the next two topics, the donated tree
Yeah,
amount, increasing that. And then also asking for donations for maintenance of trees.
Yes.
Tree care and maintenance donation fund.
Yep, so that's sort of where the money could come from. And this, I think this is more about how it's allocated. So, yeah, so maybe at our next meeting, that's what we should talk about is how much we think we need. And is that based on the number of trees that we have?
Yeah.
No, you're right, kind of really start from the ground up, like what is it we have, what do we need to maintain?
And yes,
And
do we
what
need to-
council needs to know is not about your donations. That's sort of gravy, thank goodness. They need to know what you need in the general fund. They need to know how much money are you asking to have budgeted out of the general fund. And then if you can supplement that with donations, that's always a positive when you present to council because it says people really care about this. So
I think it's important for them to have this information. And I'll go back through here and find the missing 20%.
that's okay. That's okay. I was
No, I
just,
didn't even notice that. So
the,
it's there somewhere.
it's
but-
some that, yes,
Yeah.
it's definitely there somewhere.
So maybe what we ought to plan on is maybe going before council, just a little 10-minute presentation about kind of our redirection of trying to take care of what we've got and what we think we need for budget. And that's going to have to somewhat come from Ben, right? He's supposedly working on that. So why don't I send a note to Victor if that's what we're thinking, and I guess he'll probably watch this, right?
And unless when he went through the budget generally with us, like, well, this is what we really have, but then this part of it is allocated to trees too, and this part of it's really allocated to trees. And so the budget line item by itself isn't everything we have for trees.
Our,
Really,
And-
because
and the
our budget
allocation
isn't
is
set
based-
up that way.
It's based on history.
It's
not based on
confusing.
what we really need.
Right.
Yeah, so that's what Ben's got to come up with.
Because so many of the, it's not just trees, it's lots of stuff, because I still don't have a complete handle on this.
It's allocated.
Because the the street department does some of it, the electric department does some of it, those are separate from the general fund.
Right.
But my
So what
way of
gets
thinking, is
budgeted?
you want to get something in the general fund. Tree board wants to get something in the general fund that
And
you
it
want.
should be
spent.
based on something, not
Should
just
be
based
based
on
on-
history.
Yeah,
Like, what
yes.
do we really need? Because obviously like this summer,
right.
the watering didn't work out.
Well, there's very little in the general fund that goes to trees.
Yeah.
I mean, from our last meeting, there's just,
Right.
it's a very
Yeah.
light budget because people until recently really didn't pay any attention to the public trees at all.
So I think the order of business is see how Ben's coming and get that report on, what he thinks we need in the budget to take care of trees.
And I think, and this is just a personal opinion, I think that people will be more inclined in some ways in the general budget to budget something to maintain the trees we have, where your donation programs would be more for new trees, because that's what people individually like to give. But in terms of tax dollars and things, we need to maintain what's here. We maintain our roads, we maintain our buildings, and our trees are just another part of that.
And they sort of get maintained, sort of.
Sort of, but they've never been at the forefront, ever.
Right. There's
So-
never been any talk about the specific budget. So what is the timing of the budget creation?
Well,
now?
we start talking about it, we have 3 meetings the first 3 weeks in December.
Okay, so that's really kind of where we kind of
Yeah,
get
but
to.
at least, and also your council changes,
Oh, yeah.
potentially changes after the election.
Mhm.
We'll see what happens, but that potential is there. So it doesn't behoove you to do a whole lot before that,
Uh-huh.
in all honesty,
Right.
to get things moving.
Do you
So,
think we should maybe plan to do a short presentation to council before December?
yes, because they're gonna be into, but if it were me, I mean, Victor knows a lot more, but I do it toward the end, it'll be the third Monday in November, and I don't have that.
Yeah, I think that's everyone's plan, because that'll be the new council, but before the
It'll be new
budget.
council, but it's before we actually get down to the nuts and bolts. of
No
the
point
budget.
doing it now, just be doing it over again.
Yeah,
So November.
It would
the
be,
third Monday of November.
well, November 2nd is a Tuesday, we know that, so our first meeting's the 1st,
Yeah,
and then it's
moving that
15th, it would be the 15th,
Yeah.
actually, it's the
So
15th
let's
of
have a goal
November.
of seeing where Ben is on that, because what are we gonna
How
present if
can
we
it
don't
be the
have that?
15th when our next meeting?
Or maybe it's the 22nd. No, the
It's
15th.
the
What's
15th.
Thanksgiving?
The 15th is a Monday, this date must be wrong, November 15th for our next meeting. The 15th is a Monday.
Yeah, it is Monday.
Because I know I'm
That's the
coming
third.
home on the 14th. So I know the 15th is our council meeting. So that's the date you want
That'll be our
to
date.
get on the
Want to
agenda?
target it for. Okay, and then maybe kind of just a general parameter of what we would present, a little bit about what we've done and a little bit about, what the industry suggests for levels in the budget to go to this, this, and this. What Ben thinks we need money-wise to do the maintenance, and then ask for money. And then saving new trees to come through donations and
Or at least
grants.
you probably want some for new trees in the budget. I would think you'd want some because you might have to replace the tree.
Yeah,
But myself, I would focus on the maintenance for your general budget for me. Because we have a lot of very beautiful trees already. If we don't get to put a whole bunch of new ones in, to me, that isn't such a huge issue as maintaining what's already here.
yeah.
Yeah, that'd be really important to give those numbers, but I think the rationale why is really important. Like the skate park fundraiser, what he presented that day at the city council meeting was phenomenal. I mean, you guys did a fantastic job. You really laid out the need, showed the reasons why in pictures, with the existing skate park, and then the rationale for needing this new one. I thought that was really good. And I think that's kind of some of the things we gotta try to figure a way to put in there, other than just the cost of maintaining. I know there's examples of poorly maintained trees we can point to around, and
Yeah.
can we take some
You
pictures
can
of
do a
that?
PowerPoint or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Yeah, put something together.
And I wouldn't make it super long,
Uh-huh.
because those meetings
So,
before budget get pretty long and you'll lose.
How about if I outline, do like a kind of a preliminary PowerPoint, that we can talk about it at our next meeting. So.
Your next
we're
meeting
not
is
gonna have
actually the
enough time.
19th
No, we won't.
of November.
Do you want to have an interim meeting? How do people feel about that?
Whatever.
Well, I think we need to get Ben, we definitely have to get Ben here to involve, get his input and come up with the dollars, because there could be other dollars besides just maintenance we need to think about. I mean, like you said, Nancy, probably a good idea to try to budget for some new trees, like what happened along, the spillway here at the bottom. That's beautiful how that turned out. Really nice. So maybe we gotta look at the bigger picture besides just the maintenance of it.
Let's see, so this is October 15th. How would everybody feel about having an interim meeting just this one time on October 29th to try and firm up what we want to go to council with? You guys feel okay with that?
Okay with that?
Is that enough time before, are you gonna be able to get Ben on board by then? That's not very far away.
That's going to be the missing piece.
What about and I'm fine with that as long as it's not at noon. I've got another meeting from 10 to 1 that day, but
Give
you
them
could
a
look at
week.
November 5th.
Let's do that, yeah. that
You
sounds
might
better.
have better luck with getting what you need.
That's for me.
Okay, and why don't I call Ben today? And
We talking about noon?
noon, yeah, and jiggle his cage a little bit, and
Or
I'll also send a note to Victor saying that this is what we think should happen. If he has some reason that he doesn't think we should go before council at this time.
absolutely. You might want to ask Victor to call Ben
Good idea.
when he gets back. He'll be back. You might
Well,
want to.
that is a very well taken point.
So November 5th at noon, is that what we're saying? Okay.
November 5th at noon.
That's better for me.
Awesome, okay.
Could I ask
Let's
a quick
see.
question?
Sure.
Are you guessing that you'll be able to get all the monies that you need for the maintenance, of course, first, and then the new trees that you're talking about? Because I thought last meeting, we were talking about going to the public and trying to raise money for tree maintenance, which I think we all agree, maybe it would be a bit of a hard sell. What do you think about the idea? And I don't know how it would work or anything like that, but could you possibly ask for some of that maintenance from the people that are donating the tree? Could you roll that whole
I think
idea into
that's-
one? Am I
This is
making
gonna be an
myself clear?
upcoming, that's our next topic, actually, I
Aye.
think. So, yeah, does anybody else have any other old business right now? And otherwise, we can move into this donate a tree amount. And I think the idea behind considering an increase is that that would include some monies that would go forward towards maintaining that tree. So rather than $500, which is what it is right now, well, shoot, the way this proportion was put out there, we'd have to ask for 1,500. You know, we can't do that, but
Right.
you know, maybe we ask for 700 or 600.
I think this was for 600 is what he had put in this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
And what is a new tree now? I'm sorry, I've lost track of what we think the new tree cost. I know we had a cost when we set the 500.
Usually 250 is the wholesale price, and then another that much to put it in. So $500
$500 is
is
just
what it
to
is right
plant the
now,
tree.
and that is
Okay.
by industry standard. So we just
Okay,
well, okay. Here's another thought though, because all the nurseries have been sending notes out saying that tree prices are going to go way up because of all the transportation problems, shipping problems. So maybe 600 isn't enough. Maybe we need to. 700 sounds like a big number though.
I
do we
was,
have a goal of how many we're gonna try to get donated? Do we ever set goals of, in hopes of, you know, getting X number of trees per year from people?
I don't think we have before.
I have a question too, when I was reading through these things that Victor sent us. And it said, if I'm remembering right, that it cost $100 to put the thank you in the paper. Am I right? Am I remembering that right?
Yeah, $70 for thank you is what he has on there. It might be.
Okay, and I'm wondering if that's really necessary, in all honesty, to do a public thank you for every tree that's donated. You know,
That's a good point.
I don't know, but we put it on the plaque, we get the plaque for them. Certainly, tree board could write them a thank you note, that certainly is
I'm all for
appropriate to
that.
do that. But is it really necessary when somebody donates a tree for a loved one to put it in the paper?
What would happen if we included it in our article, you know, and plus, we would like to thank so-and-so for their kind donation
Yeah.
of this tree. So it'd
That's
be
a
a
great
That would be a way to
Yeah.
do it without incurring
Yeah,
a
so
$70 cost for
Right.
every tree. We could put it on social media, a thank you.
Yeah, we can do that too.
But that just seems like a lot to me when I'm thinking, wow, every single tree that gets donated, more than 10% of it gets spent on a thank you in the paper.
Yeah, thank yous. Those call it thank yous of the month.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we could do that. And I also think it would be very nice for a tree board, somebody on tree board to write a thank you to the people who give.
Yes.
That costs us
We can take turns.
55 cents to mail it or whatever, but I think I sit on a board for Haiti Nursing Foundation and we write hand thank yous or email, depending where we are in the cycle, to every single donor.
that means a lot.
And it's really a nice thing. I mean, they get one from staff, but they also get one from a board member that just says, we really appreciate, you know, your interest. So
That's very nice.
I think we could certainly make that happen. We could get some note cards printed with our logo on them.
I was just thinking the same thing,
Yeah.
stationery.
Yeah, just something that we could use that,
Yeah.
buy
Yeah,
some
we could-
stamps, put them
We
on
could use the
ourselves.
graphic that
Yeah.
Patrick's creating on the
Yep,
front of the
I
note
love
card.
that.
and-
I think that money would be better spent than $70 every time somebody donates a tree.
Yeah.
Just think we don't need to do that.
So do we think 600 is enough? Or we do that for right now, or do we reset the price every year?
I think 600 would be a good place to start just from this. And if we need to change it later, we can. If we jump at more than 600, it might seem like a big
Yeah,
bunch of
okay.
money for somebody to use to donate.
I probably wouldn't go up more than that and see if there's some places we can cut our cost a little bit. So really, we're doing 670 if we just take the article out, the thank you out of the paper. So we're at almost 7. We're not at 700, but in terms of money usable, that would help some.
Does everybody like that idea?
I'm just curious, so with the 600, whatever price tag you come up with, is there a percentage of that considered for its maintenance?
So we should earmark it. So we should say the city is willing to pay.
Well, if you've got 600 and you say there's 250 of cost for the tree and 250 of cost for to plant it, that leaves 100 to maintain. Those are ballpark figures.
So it may be
obviously.
more than that. I think really honestly that a lot of the maintenance for the new trees is just going to be watering. You know, there's not gonna need to be pruning or fertilizing, just watering. So maybe for these new trees, that is a good amount. It's the older trees, you're gonna take pruning and stuff like that to keep them healthy. Should we go with 600 for now?
I would and see what you get. I see if people still are willing to donate or if they're, you know, I
Yeah.
put a feeler out.
I think it'll be influenced by what the city's willing to put in the budget in the general fund too. So it may not need to be 600. But until we know that, we need to cover.
Yeah, I
what
think
we
it
know.
probably needs to be 600.
I think it
If
does
it's
too.
been 5 for however long it's been 5.
Is everybody okay with 600 then? And we'll communicate that to Victor and, you know, he can get put in whatever article there is on the website about it.
Right.
Okay. So that's another thing that we can talk to city council about when we go. Okay, tree care and maintenance donation funded form.
So this is another alternative to the general fund, basically, right?
It's a way to supplement. I look at it as a way to supplement the general fund, because I think we're very justified in asking for some money from general fund.
Well, I was thinking the title of it, you know, he had Friends of the Tree Board Program. I'm thinking Friends of the Trees Program. Because I don't want to imply it's coming into a budget that we have as a tree board, you know what I mean? So it's really the Friends of the Trees Program.
What are you looking at?
The last city of Harvest Springs donated a tree. Now, is it donated? Is there another one or is this the one he
This is the
changed?
second one. This is another thing he
Yeah,
included in the packet.
Is
which
there
were
another
the-
one, Rach?
So the donated
Yeah.
tree.
There we go, that one, and then just based on a little further to the form that he created.
Yeah, I read it at home.
There we go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that one, yeah. I think we should take the board out of that name.
Friends of the trees.
We need an S on trees, don't we,
Yeah.
to make it sound right?
Right, Friends of One Tree, yeah.
Friends.
Which tree, which
Yeah, I'd
tree
like to
are we
be
gonna?
Friends with the one. at
Friends of the
corner.
trees, that sounds like a Dr. Seuss book to me. That's okay. Friends of the Trees program. Okay. I read all these.
So the city of Hart, I
Yeah,
look at
I
the
think that
sentence.
sounds better, because the other way we could put it would be Friends of the Urban Forest. But we use that term a lot in the tree plan. I think trees is better. But you,
Do, the trees people get, but he put this sentence in, the city of Harbor Springs has thousands of trees for which it's responsible. We estimate that it costs close to $100,000 annually to properly manage our inventory. So should that be your budget proposal? 100,000?
Good luck
the
with
city
it.
manager says.
Yeah. We currently only spend a fraction of that amount to maintain our urban forest.
I liked this.
I think this is good.
I think it's good too.
Yeah. Friends of the trees.
I like how it's written here.
I like how it's written. I just,
And then it would be whatever logo
yep.
we have on the bottom of it. Change all. those
Where's
out.
Victor getting all these logos from?
He likes his trees.
Nice, actually. This would be a good thing in an article too, to talk about this. Like when we talked about the funding, you know, where does money come from to do this? Be a nice
Yeah,
thing to
and
add
with
to that
the,
along
with the hot link, you can donate today.
Yeah.
And get right to this.
And I
or
think maybe I'm an optimist, but I'm thinking there are some folks that would do this, that use our parks, that enjoy the trees, but don't feel the need to donate a tree for any specific purpose, but do want to help with the trees. I can see this working really well, actually.
Or somebody could make a donation in honor of somebody.
Yeah, yeah. And then we've got a plaque for this too, right? Am I right? Okay.
Do we have one yet?
I think it's the one, I think it's out there, isn't it, or not? I thought we had a place and there were only a couple names. I'd have to look.
We'd have to write.
But same thing, I think we,
Trees or plaques?
yeah, not to
two out
donate a
here.
tree, but for the maintenance. We'll
Or
have to ask.
for, I think actually it was for people that donated less than the $500.
Oh, maybe,
So that
okay.
could-
But again, I think thank you notes, handwritten thank you notes, I think that's really important. Even if it's a small donation, I think to honor that is really important.
Well, how about the gentleman that donated the trees, by the church? And
Mr. Fennick.
yeah, and then also wants to do it on Travis Street. I mean, he's that example. of
So
this.
this is another topic for discussion. I don't know about today, but we can start thinking about it. Is do we want to accept any more big donations until we've got a plan in place to take care of trees? I think you brought this up.
Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about it at the last meeting. We gotta make sure we can maintain it. So I think, right now it was incredibly generous and wonderful, absolutely, but we have to make sure we can keep them alive. Because it doesn't make sense to let people donate big things. But I think thank you notes to whether somebody donates $50 or they donate 50,000, I think it's important.
Also think about, if someone did want to do like a larger donation, thinking of a way to kind of span it out, like throughout the years, like if they for some reason did want to do a large donation, say, okay, but it's only so many trees.
For the next 5 years.
Yeah, like kind of map it out a little bit.
Well, we have to figure out where we can put that.
Right, yeah, so.
Where
Yeah,
it's
so
in
we
our
kind of
plans.
had, we, I think, haven't we said that we are not, if somebody donates a tree, we are not going to say this is your tree at this location.
Right, yes, we have said that.
And
And I
I
think
think it would be a problem for like Ron Fennick, who wants them all put in right now.
Yeah.
Right, that way it's not a no, but it's a,
Yeah, we
you
appreciate
can't put them all in it.
Well, and I think since you're going to work on the park and rec plan too, they all overlap with each other, the master plan and this, even the harbor plan. I mean, they're all coming together and we've got to make sure we coordinate all that. And big donations make a difference in that. One tree probably doesn't, but big donations certainly do. And that's just being responsible for accepting them.
That's where landscaper friends become.
This is more new business. Do you think we've said enough on that so far? Yeah. This came up at, we have a DDA, Downtown Enhancement Committee. And this came up at that there are currently 2 or 3 empty tree pits where there aren't trees, where they died and they took them out and didn't replace them.
On Main Street.
On Main Street. So just to let you guys know what our vision is, we're trying desperately to get Main Street fixed up and do some standardization, trees planted evenly from, the curb and evenly between each other, and get rid of the half dead, overgrown, all that, and have them all about the same size, and start off that way. And so too much money, no money in the coffers of the city, so that didn't happen. So we're looking at, okay, what kind of iteration could we do that might be more affordable? And one thing we're thinking about is reducing the number of trees on Main Street. Somebody brought up a really good point that there's so much stuff on the sidewalks that it's hard to walk sometimes between bike racks and trash cans and trees. We still continue to think the tree grates are the best option. The flowers were pretty this summer, but it was a whole lot of work for the Honor Society and DDA members, keeping them watered. The sprinklers are set for trees, not for, delivering enough water for the flowers as well. So we're still thinking the tree grate thing is going to be the way to go. And what that also gives us is more room on the sidewalk. So then we would be doing hanging baskets from the lampposts, and that's where we would get our color downtown. So this is all like hypothetical at this point, but at some point, I believe somebody's going to come to the tree board and say, does the DDA or the city have to replace the trees that have already been taken out? And one example of this is in front of Rob Mossberg's buildings. He had 2 trees there, and he doesn't want them to go back in. He wants to do the ice melt in the sidewalks. So is that something that we want to weigh in on? Then do we want to weigh in if there are fewer trees downtown? Like, do we feel like we have to make up those trees somewhere else? Like if it was on a residence property, for example, and they wanted to take a tree out, we would say, well, you need to put another in its place of equal caliber, right?
I think we need to have a plan. We're trying to sort of piece it together, and I think we have to look at downtown and go, okay, how many trees do we want? How many tree grates can we afford? Fewer trees means fewer grates means, they all go
Budget
together.
management.
So,
So we are planning to get something drawn up that
Yeah.
will be more modest.
I'm so sorry I have to
No
go.
worries. I
had a
think we're just
105
about
booster
done
shot. I'm going for it.
Yay, good for you. Good.
Right, sorry, guys.
yeah.
Good
All
luck
right.
tomorrow.
Oh, thank you, thank you. We've got some of that going on too.
Bye.
Let's see, nice meeting you, Savannah.
Nice meeting you too.
So I think, yeah, it certainly is something tree board, I would think, would want to weigh in on when you guys get a plan at DDA
Right,
together. What you're
something to start
thinking.
thinking about. This is in the pike.
Yeah,
Big subject.
it is a
That's
big
what we're
Big
really,
intersection.
sort of like one of the big reasons why we're here. It seems like everything that's sort of we spelled out earlier about talking up the advantages that this downtown urban forest does. So if we stand by that,
Yeah, I think there is, yeah, I don't know that there's a right number of trees in a downtown setting. I think they can be too close together where it
Sure.
becomes a disadvantage for pedestrians and a safety issue, really honestly.
so some research.
Some research, yep. So we're, for example, on a block where there's 9 trees, we're thinking about, let's go down to 7, maybe 6 kind of thing. Where you still have this feeling of a beautiful tree-lined street, which is a wonderful feeling, without it being quite so crowded and quite so expensive initially and to maintain.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
Just quickly, the tree grades, I noticed a material, I was downtown Charlevoix a bit ago. And they had a sort of a man-made material. I don't know if anybody knows about this. I haven't done any investigation on it, around their downtown trees. And I don't
I
know.
haven't
if
seen that
it
yet. I
takes-
can tell you what it might be though, and this was, when I first came on, DDA was what had been planned, is you can get colored asphalt that you put over the tree roots. And that just seems heinous to me in so many ways. How it looks, I just can't believe that air, water, nutrient exchange would be the same. I just don't think that's what people want for Harbor Springs.
Yeah, I don't know what any of the research.
We did a
spills
lot of
out on it.
research into it, and it's not cheap either, and it's not enduring.
I was curious.
Yeah, and we did look into it. It's called, it's not gonna come to me at the moment, but yeah. We did talk quite extensively about it. We got samples of it,
Okay,
had it priced out and everything.
just noticed it, yeah.
Want to have a look. Does anybody have any more new business?
I do not.
Good, we're under an hour.
Yes.
Shall we adjourn?
Yes, please.
Good. Would people like to see this article about apportioning
I would.
budget?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
Can you
Do you
email
think
it?
that's okay to send it out to everybody? We're not discussing it, we're just sending it.
I think so.
It's not open meetings.
No, I think so. And if Victor feels like we need to make sure the public have seen that, we can put it in our next packet.
Yeah.
If Victor feels like